I use the B.I.T.E model. It can apply to political cults and cults of personality too, not just religion.
Significance. Any group, any relationship that's depriving you of sleep, is doing behavior modification techniques, is demanding obedience to authority. As I mentioned before, deceptive recruitment or lack of informed consent is a huge criteria of a destructive cult. Propaganda, confession, spying, turning people in. And in terms of thought control, totalist ideology, loaded language, thought-terminating cliches.
Based on Liston's model is 8 criteria and Margaret Singer's, and based on the cognitive dissonance model of Leon Festinger, remember he talked about thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. I thought about thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and I added information control. And I created what is now referred to as the B.I.T.E model of mind control. So the B for the B.I.T.E model stands for behavior control. Now we're talking about specific things to be careful about. And if you go back to the earlier slide, the video of the continuum, which is on my website, I might add, and in my book as well, and on some blogs as well, you really want to be concerned the more a group wants to control your where you live, who you associate with, how you dress, what you eat and drink, your sleep, because a lot of cults like to use sleep deprivation, keeping people up late at night on computers, in chat rooms, on YouTubes, etc. They really want to control money. They really don't want you to have leisure time. They want to control all of your time. And of course also with whom and how you have sex. They want you to do cult rituals, especially religious/spiritual cults. Will have you chanting or praying or meditating for many, many hours, and to do it in such a way that makes you less able to be critical of the leader, the doctrine, of the group. Unhealthy behavior control is where you have to ask permission for major life decisions, where you have to report thoughts and feelings, and there are these rigid rules and regulations. So with B.I.T.E model, and there's a much longer list, by the way, of the B.I.T.E model that's available for you. I just wanted to pick a few highlights for this course. But they really do use behavior modification. They really don't want you to be an individual. The key of behavior control is they want you to do what they tell you to do. So that's the behavior control of the B.I.T.E model. Information control. My assistant Abigail came up with this picture, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a cockroach inside of this ice cream sundae, and she grew up in the Mormon church, LDS, of Latter-day Saints. But this is a way of programming people inside the group not to, look at movies and other fun things because it's going to poison you, and it's got this horrible taint. So with information control, there's no informed consent. They don't tell you in the beginning who they are, what they believe, and what they're going to ask of you once you make a commitment to the organization. So people may say, I've joined this church or I've joined this group, but if you look at it from the outside, they didn't even know what they were joining. It was systematic manipulation and deception. Another thing with destructive cults is that whatever you say or do can be reported to the leadership in order to manipulate. So people have to turn in each other and spy on each other. There's extensive propaganda. The former members are terrible. critics are terrible, don't listen to them, it's spiritual pornography. No other critical points of view, and there's a distinct difference between what the inside believes and what they tell about their group's beliefs to the public. Information is the tool we use to think. So if we're operating in an information silo and we have an us versus them kind of mentality, we can get into a lot of trouble. The T of the B.I.T.E model is thought control. It's kind of black and white, us versus them, good, we're good, they're evil. Don't think negative thoughts, just believe magically and good things will happen. Loaded language is one of Lifton's 8 criteria. It talks about words that are jargon, that don't really mean anything to the average person, but within the cult, it has special meaning. So Scientology is one of the worst transgressors of loaded language. They literally have their own dictionaries of terms that Hubbard came up with. And members were taught that if you have a confusion or a doubt or you don't understand something or you even space out while you're reading something, it means you didn't understand the meaning of a particular word. And then you have to go and look up the word and self-indoctrinate. And of course, with thought control, you can't ask critical questions. You can't say, why is the leader sleeping with the followers? I thought he's supposed to be celibate. At all. You can't ask questions like that. And then the E of the B.I.T.E model is really about a combination of making you feel like you're chosen and you're special and you have unique knowledge to save the planet, where they may love bomb you and just effusive praise. Oh, you're so special. You're so wonderful. We love you. But once you're in the cult, there's so much manipulation of guilt and fear and fear of shunning, especially if you're born in a group and you're told that your family and friends will never be able to talk to you or relate to you if you leave the group. It's a horrible form of control. And the universal mind control technique is phobia indoctrination. The installation of irrational fears that terrible things will happen to you if you leave the group. So as someone who maybe has an elevator phobia, is afraid to get in an elevator, they can't imagine getting in an elevator, riding safely and comfortably. Someone in a mind control cult or relationship that's mind control, they can't imagine leaving the group or leaving the person and being happy and fulfilled.
And I want to talk for a minute about hypnosis. I was in a cult for 2.5 years. By the way, I was deprogrammed out of the moon cult, if you were wondering. How'd you get out of this? You were so fanatical. I fell asleep at the wheel of a van and drove into the back of a tractor-trailer truck at 80 miles an hour, which got me away physically from the group, visiting my sister, and my family did a deprogramming intervention, which took 5 days before I could start thinking maybe Moon wasn't the Messiah. And it was 4 years after that that I saw a stage hypnotist do a hypnosis demonstration, and I went, that's what I used to do when I was a leader doing lectures for the Moonies. And that's another TED Talk, all about the dark side of hypnosis. Sleep deprivation, subliminal programming is taking place right now on the internet. There are people teaching hypnosis. If you want to rape somebody, they'll teach you techniques for covert hypnosis, and it's just there. I know the news right now is about 3D printing of guns, but mind control techniques are freely being taught on the internet, and it's very, very dangerous. So as I sum up, I want to just say, avoid black and white, all or nothing, good versus evil, mindsets, and that people can interact with people who've been indoctrinated and help them to wake up, because deep down inside, I believe people want to be free and they want to know the truth. The government brainwashes me, etc. But what I'm here to say is actually, I want to present a model for you to think about, a spectrum from healthy to unhealthy influence. Healthy influence, there's informed consent. You know what you're getting involved with. You know about the person. There's choice. On the destructive side, there's deception. There's manipulation. On the healthy side, it respects your free will. It respects your conscience, where the unhealthy side is using guilt manipulation, fear manipulation, and wanting you to become tranced out, obedient slaves. And we have on this continuum some themes. Again, this is not a binary of all or nothing. This is a spectrum. And my call to action is, your minds are precious, and only you should control your mind. I'm calling for people to take responsibility for their own lives, their own minds, and realize just how vulnerable we really all are. On this chart, we have leaders talking about healthy leaders that are transparent and accountable and responsible. And on the other side, the destructive side, narcissistic, psychopathological, elitist, never admits they do anything wrong, secretive, deceptive, and they want loyalty and they want dependency. And in terms of organizations, there needs to be checks and balances. There needs to be individual diversity. And the means actually help to create the ends. On the destructive side, people justify the ends, justify the means. We're going to save the world, different cults say, and therefore we justify all kinds of unethical behavior. And the biggest vulnerability, if I was sitting there, I'd be going, I'm too smart. It would never happen to me. I'm too together. I know myself. I have good family, good education. And what I'm saying is, it happened to me.